Hello folks. Today's problem is a curious one in that a short while ago I replaced the cam belt and had to strip everything off to do that. Now ever since I've done that, the truck has been really boggy, and she's missing a lot, especially on acceleration. Now I'm sure I timed it right, but it was running okay, belt is tensioned properly, and then it wasn't running okay. This is after I changed the starter motor brushes. So there's a few things I want to check. One, I want to check the throttle position sensor, which is here, and two, we're also going to check the action of the EGR valve. Now in the past I've had to replace the ignition control module, which is down here behind the... I do apologise for the if this is shitty quality or shitty sound, but I'm using a very cheap phone because I managed to break my proper phone. Behind the alternator here there's the ignition control module, which is, it's kind of dark, but it's down here anyway. I've had to change that because the truck developed a rather strange issue in that when you started it, it was only firing on two plugs, which was on this side. Now what happens is with the Ford Ranger 2.3, when you start it, because it has 8 plugs and 2 coil packs, one coil pack here, one coil pack down there with the other leads. When you initially turn the key, only this coil pack fires, so only this bank of plugs fires. What was happening was the only 2 plugs on this side were firing, and it was the ignition control module. So what I did was I replaced it, the problem went away, it was fine, but it's kind of doing the same thing again. Let me start it and you'll see what I mean. Yeah, as you can see, she has issues. I did notice something though, that there was an electronic, there's like a mechanical clicking. I think it was the idle control valve here that was going tick, 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 trying to maintain an idle. And it might have been the EGR valve, which is here. And this has been replaced 2 or 3 times also, because the engine's kind of old and I only use it to work around the garden now. The port that it mounts to is a bypass port here between this valve and the inlet. It gets blocked with all the gunk from combustion. So to test the EGR valve, you pull this vacuum line off, and if you put a vacuum gun on it, you can normally see the valve moving in here. So let's give that a try. Right, I hope you can see, and I've got the vacuum gun here. It's a very cheap one, hooked up, and it's connecting to where the vacuum pipe went. This green one went to there. Now when I pump this, you should see the valve move on the inside. You can see that. What? Is that moving? I'm not entirely sure. It's taking a good vacuum, but to me, well, I can't see it moving. I think it might be stuck open, you know. Which means it's letting exhaust recycle into the engine continuously. not just when it's required. See that red flange there? That's meant to move, but I can't see it moving. I'm going to remove it and clean it. All you have to do, these two bolts, undo this, and this electrical connection at the back. So let me just remove that right now. Okay, the EGR valve has been removed. It's fairly simple to do, though I forgot I had to remove the idle air control valve, which goes here like this, so you can get the big nut off easier. It's only two 8mm bolts, piece of piss. So let's take a look at this thing here. Now, there's the thing I was talking about before. You see that in there? And what happens is that the vacuum line here sucks that, like, bellows thing, like, in, which sucks. Come on, focus. Down. Which sucks this plunger in here. God, this camera sucks. Which sucks this plunger in here, and that allows the gases to recycle from the exhaust system to be burnt again inside the engine. Now what happens is, the other two of these that I replaced, they've just seized up completely. This plunger would not move. Now, I was fucking about with, when I took this off, this was actually seized solid, but oh shit, but with a bit of pushing, it's actually freed up. Can you see that moving inside? See that? So that's working now. And if I put the vacuum gun on it, just connect the line to this. If I do this, you see it moving in. You'll see it coming back out. See, it's got a vacuum on it. You'll see it coming back out, but release the pressure. See? One more time. See? Goes in. Release the pressure, and it goes back out. So that's working. What I'll do is I'm going to spray a bit of a card cleaner in there just to get some of the shit off it. Hopefully it won't seize up again so soon. Right. Huh, typical. I'm also pulling it. I got a bit out of it. Okay. Give a bit of a poke, get some of that shit going through there. I'll let that sit for a minute, then I'll give it a blast with some air. Okay, this is actually moving a lot smoother now. It's actually moving a lot smoother. And what happens is, sometimes this bellows thing, it rips and tears, so the vacuum just, doesn't work at all, so this thing never opens. I don't think this was our running problem, because this only opens above a certain RPM, or below a certain RPM, and not when you're accelerating. I may be wrong on that, but if this was jam closed, then it couldn't be putting exhaust into the engine. So I don't think this is the problem, but it's been freed, which will help with the verification for the emissions. So this can go back on now. I haven't blown it out with air yet, but I need 3 hands to do that, so I won't be able to record it. But it's just a case of me pumping some air, pushing that down, pumping some air through it, and it'll come out this port at the back here. Right there. Now, speaking of it, this port at the back here, of course, has the equivalent one on the engine. And let me show you it.
this is the port on the engine that one mates up to. Now one time I took this off and this was completely and utterly blocked with gunk, but this time it's kind of clear. I've very gently probed it with a straw off a aerosol can, because I don't want to push any shit into the engine because it's very, very abrasive. But it's clear. Well, it's certainly clearer than it was last time. To be honest, I need to take this off and clean it because I'm sure it is just chock-a-block full of shite inside, but that's for another day. That's a day. Oh, when doing this, be very, very careful and don't do what the fuck I did. I broke this vacuum line. Why? Because it's old and it is just disgusting. It is just disintegrating. It is so weak. As soon as I touched it, it broke. Now I'm not entirely sure where it went, because it has these two vacuum lines here which go over to this valve, and they're okay, but I think it connected on here for the air conditioning, but the air conditioning has been removed, so I don't need it. So what I'm going to do is when it goes into the manifold here, where this broken pipe goes into this manifold here, I'm just going to block this. I'm going to take it off and block it up here. Just put a bit of silicone over it, and that should fix that problem. This is the fuel regulator one. I'll have to check that. But all right, let's put that valve back on. Okay, the EGR valve is back on. The idle air control valve is reinstalled. I broke this tube off and I just tapped it with a little bit of silicone so no air can get in. So let's see if it will run. Revs better when it's higher, but again this is flickering, and that was what happened last time when I had to change the ignition control module. So let's see, she's still hesitating. Now somewhere I've got a spare ignition control module. Don't want to buy a new one because fucking things are expensive. What I might also try to do is cleaning the MAF, the mass airflow sensor, and then I'll have to recheck the valve timing, because even though I did time up the cam and the crank perfectly, I'm not so sure I got the oil pump timing correct. And me, being a fucking idiot, thought, you know what? It's just the oil pump, what difference does it make? But on the back of the idler gear, just behind the idler gear for the cam wheel for the oil pump, is the crank position sensor, which of course would have to be timed perfectly. But to do that, I want to remove the radiator and everything, because it's so much easier to access these things. And removing the radiator on this it's only a few minutes. So the first thing I'm going to do is clean the MAF, and if that doesn't do anything, I'm going to have to try and dig out that new not new but used ignition control module. So let's get the MAF off. Now this is the MAF at the beginning of the air ducting to the motor. It's held on by these strange little Torx security screws, the doobly in the middle. So make sure you have the tool for that. There's two of them. Take off the connector. And let's have a look. I haven't moved this in about 4 years. It's actually clean. There's two little sensor wires there. Yeah, it's not so bad. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give them a blast of a card cleaner anyway. The can's nearly empty. Damn it. Now, this has two very small, very delicate sensor wires on it, which you should not, under these circumstances, touch. Because if they break, it means a new MAF. Get it nice and dry. You can see the two wires there. 1, 2. Alright, that's dry. And basically, that's it for cleaning the MAF. So, I'll reinstall this and see what happens. Okay, the MAF is reinstalled. These little screws, just nip them up. You don't want to yank down on them, because you will fuck this up, and these things aren't cheap. Well, not where I live. Reconnect it. So, let's see if it starts. Might have to do that idler control valve again, because it's kind of idling kind of high. Better, it's a little bit better. Maybe better. Well, I still want to check the valve timer, and I still want to replace that ICM emission control module, but definitely a little bit better, but not the way it should be. Alright, what I'll do is I'll call it quits in this video over here. I'll take out the ignition control module and we'll fit that. Alright, thanks for watching. Bye now, guys.